Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another edition of Tell Me Something Good. For those of you who it's your first time, I wrote a book called Confessions of a Serial Salesman. One of the rules in my book is we do not ask people how you are. We ask people to tell us something good. I am honored to have a 26-year veteran of Navy SEAL, Tom Chaby, with us. Tom, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
You're awesome, dude. I am thrilled that we're friends. I admire everything you've done, everything you're doing now. You've taken everything that you've learned from training Navy SEALs and you have applied it to the business world. So you instantly go to the head of my class because I can learn from you. So tell us a little bit about yourself. Educate my audience about what you've done. This whole Navy SEAL thing. You guys are the most highly trained, habitual human beings around. So share some of that. And now's your opportunity to tell me something good.
Fantastic. Well, thanks for the intro. Spent 26 years in the Navy as a SEAL officer. Joined the Navy predominantly to be part of a team. That was it. That was my motivation, pure and simple. I missed being on a team. I'd been an athlete my childhood through college, and the minute that ended, I felt alone. So joined the Navy, and boy, did I find a team. The SEAL teams are the ultimate team, in my opinion. We're all contributors. We're all relevant. We all bring value every day. And if you don't, you'll leave. You'll be asked to leave if you don't bring value. So that's just part of the deal.
Asked to leave, man. The culture kicks you out. I love that.
Absolutely. And it's a culture that's mandated by accountability top down, as most of us experience, but also bottom up. I can remember to the day I retired, looking out at the audience, and I'd been in for 26 years. I was the commanding officer of SEAL Team 5, led a team of multiple hundred SEALs conducting operations throughout the world, led a task force in Iraq of 400 plus, led a task unit in Afghanistan just a few weeks after 9/11. And I'll tell you what, the day I was retiring, here I was, a guy who had a lot of experience. I'd led from the highest levels. I still felt like a new guy. Remember that feeling when you're a new guy?
Wow.
You don't want to make any mistakes. I still felt like a new guy. I didn't want to mess my retirement speech up. So there I was being held accountable the day I was leaving. I loved that, and it was phenomenal. Incredible.
So obviously, I admire the discipline, the process, the operation side of what you do. One of the things I know you talk about is that when you train people to go on a mission, if you fail, people die. When you take those principles and you apply them to the business world, tell me some of your experience about dealing with CEOs of corporations, CEOs of football teams. I know that you're pretty active in football, which you know is near and dear to my heart and my boy's heart. So share some of that with us.
Yeah, I think it starts with, to steal Simon Sinek's phrase, it starts with why you do what you do. What are the driving forces that mandate performance? Like you said, as a SEAL, we really don't have the option to fail. If I don't listen to a brief at the level I need to, I may make a mistake. If I don't tie my shoes correctly, they may come untied, and my shoe coming untied may be the reason we have mission failure. So really, ultimately, failure is not an option, although we do have micro failures, I prefer to refer to them as. But in my world where I came from, you have to get it right. Even at the highest level of college football, which I've had the privilege to work with, you know what? There's nobody holding you accountable other than the sports media, where if you lose, you lose, and then you got next year to make it up. There's no life or death. There's no strategic importance to the nation. It's a game. So when you can learn to bring the same level of gravitas to a situation where you truly are going to listen, and I'll tell you what, when I was an athlete before becoming a SEAL, I was a horrible listener. I thought I was good. But boy, did I learn that I need to improve that skill. Listening is a skill. And I worked hard at it, and I became a good listener. My wife may beg to differ with that last comment, but I became a better listener. And when you listen, you can perform at a higher level. So to come back to my original comment, the gravitas of life or death and national strategic importance forces me, or forced me in the past tense, to perform at a level that I never even imagined I could. If I could have brought that same attitude, that same mindset and focus to when I played football, I played in college, or when I skied competitively, boy, would I have performed at a higher level. I would have. So I try to bring that same mindset and attitude to corporate America. I try to bring that same mindset and attitude to the sports world, the amateur and the professional sports worlds, so they can look at things differently through a different lens that forces them to take their level to another level because they don't have a choice.
I am absolutely fascinated. Every time I'm with you, I get the opportunity to hear you. You speak with such amazing conviction. I'm thrilled that you're in my world. Thank you to our friends at Dex Imaging for putting us together. One of the things I know that you're really, really focused on, and in the world we're living in today, is how to handle adversity. And I'd love for you to share in a few minutes what you can to people who are listening to this about how to handle what's going on around us. What's the clues to success to handling adversity?
Well, handling adversity from my perspective is simple. I try to go back to before I went through SEAL training, when I had not had the experiences I had in Hell Week, for example, or on the battlefields of Afghanistan, Iraq, or 71 other countries I had the opportunity to work in. And for me, it's a lifestyle. Once again, the gravitas for which was brought to me in order to meet the expectations and the requirements of my profession, it forced me to look at things differently. And, performing under stress, thriving in adversity, like times like today or back after 9/11, it frankly is a choice. And that's easy to say. I have a little story for you. I was living down in Colombia, South America, doing counter drug operations. And I can remember this day 19 plus years ago, like it was yesterday. And I'm sure you can remember where you were and what you were doing that day as well. And I was in a closed off room, no television, and the door opened up. And Admiral Moreno, a Colombian admiral who I had done a ton of work with, walked in the room with tears in his eyes. And he was apologizing for what had happened to the United States of America. That's how I learned about 9/11.
Oh, wow.
And it was unbelievable how gracious the people of Colombia were. But it changed my life forever. And a couple of days later, I flew out of Bogota, got a commercial flight, one of the first into the United States, to LaGuardia. And I grew up on the New Jersey side, Bergen County. And so I was up in my old turf and landed in a Navy plane, was going to bring me from LaGuardia down to Norfolk, Virginia, where I was going to be assigned for my next mission. And as we flew down the Hudson River, the Navy pilot tilted the plane a little bit to the left, and I looked out the window. I looked at the remains, the smoking remains of the two buildings I looked at every day as a child. And I feel guilty for what I felt, but I felt opportunity. I really did. I was sad for everybody who perished that day. I mean, it was horrible, horrible, horrible. The town, Parkridge, New Jersey, where I grew up, we lost a bunch of people. I lost some friends on that very day. And but I saw it as an opportunity for my profession. I knew I was going to be brought into the fold. I was going to be relevant. I was going to be relevant as all heck. And a couple of weeks later, I was in Afghanistan with the task unit. And what did I look at? Was I scared? Yeah, sure. Who knew what we were walking into? But I looked at it more as an opportunity. And frankly, we set the construct to live life a little bit differently than most people do. I try to define my life through adversity. I want adversity. I look for it. Every day I want to, if I don't have it naturally through the course of the day, I try to manufacture it. And that's what we did as SEALs. I was a SEAL instructor for for 3 total years. And that's what our job was, to simulate adversity, simulate stress, make the operator's world as miserable and uncertain as possible so they learn how to thrive under those conditions. It's a skill. It is a skill, thriving under adversity. And for me, that guilt I felt on 9/11, I felt the same thing a couple days ago. I look at today, COVID-19, coronavirus, whatever you want to call what we're dealing with, horrible, and I love what I see the world doing. More importantly, what I see our country doing. You see the usual political foes are starting to come together, work together. And, I look at this as an opportunity. You and I, I was having challenges getting hooked up into this. What do you call this thing we're on? Yeah, the digital world, StreamYard. And, I learned about Zoom 2 hours ago. I had never done Zoom in my life until 2 hours ago. And I've been wanting to change and improve and expand the modalities where I bring my value. And boy, I was forced to do it. Opportunity. Here we are right now talking about adversity, opportunity. There are a lot of good things that'll come from this, just like 9/11. As horrible as 9/11 was, the CIA, the FBI, the Army, the Navy, the Marines, none of us worked well together before 9/11. We were all stovepiped. But you know what? We all collaborate on a completely different level now because of that horrible event. And I think some great things are going to come out of this as well. Like I see my own family. I have 2 young boys, Travis, Trevor. They're 10 and 11. My wife, Allison, great woman. And, our family is being brought together because we have no choice. I'm not saying we're self-isolated, but we're ultimately living that way. We're staying away from her parents, who we live a few miles from, just to protect them. Who the heck knows what we picked up?
Wow, you're right.
I'm looking at my family. I'm looking at my spirituality. I'm looking at my professional life. And boy, I have room to grow in every domain. Every domain. And I'm going to use this time as an opportunity to expand my horizons, to become a better person, to become a better educator, because that's ultimately what I do, and to work better with the people in my circle like you. I'm so happy you and I reconnected just a couple days ago. And frankly, would we be talking right now if COVID-19 didn't happen? Probably not.
Probably not. That's exactly right. But I'm totally in agreement with you. And one of the things I've been shouting from the mountains is change is good. It pushes you to places you wouldn't normally go. And I think we'll come out of this with a new norm. We're not isolated. We're distanced, but we're not isolated. I mean, you and I, this is such a great conversation, and I get to share it with all of the people I know, as will you get to do that. In what other universe was that happening? And I thank you so much, because everything you said, I think, is something really, really good. You are a special human being. I am thrilled that we had the opportunity to do this, and I'm thrilled that my audience will get to hear you. I can't wait till we get back to somewhat normalcy, because we're going to have dinner in Tampa. I'm going to take you for that steak and wine dinner that I promised you. But you're fantastic. Keep on doing what you do. I will share with my audience how to contact you, and anybody who's looking for leadership and developmental training, I will highly recommend you, because I'm just so enamored with who you are and what you do, and keep on doing it. And thank you for being good.
Thank you, Stephen. I'll do the same for you with my circle.
Awesome, brother, man. We'll be in touch.
Look forward to it. Have a great day.
Take care. Bye-bye.